Now, a very similar and related pattern is the direct inference with conditionals. I'm calling conditional an if-then. I'm calling a conditional. Why? Because let's take the first premise in this argument. If Socrates is a philosopher, then Socrates is sexy. We say that's a conditional. That is, it's not saying absolutely that Socrates is a philosopher. It's not saying that he's sexy. Rather, he's just saying there's a connection between his Socrates being a philosopher and Socrates being sexy. That is, on the condition that he's a philosopher, then he's sexy. If the condition isn't met, all bets are off. But that's what an if-then is saying. And notice we have the following argument that's going to look in certain ways very, very similar to the preceding one. That is, if Socrates is a philosopher, then Socrates is sexy. Second premise, Socrates is a philosopher. Therefore, Socrates is sexy. And this one is also a valid form pattern of inference. And the way we're going to express this pattern is if statement P, in this case Socrates is a philosopher, is true, then statement Q is true. Socrates is sexy is true. The second premise is that the first statement is true, so statement P is true. And the conclusion is statement Q is true. Okay, so and when we look at the patterns of inference, we're going to shorten that second argument a little bit, or that second pattern. And for the pattern of inference, we're just going to say if P, then Q, P, therefore Q. And one reason that we can see that this is true really has a lot to do with the relationship between the way the logic of all and the logic of if-then works, because the logic of if-then amounts to saying that all times when the first statement is true, then the second statement is true. Second one says the first statement is true, therefore the conclusion, the second statement is true. So there's the parallel kind of logic between this direct inference with if-then and the direct inference with all.